No blame, stepping up my game. I'm a groove school, yes I am. With groove, I know I can. Read my master plan. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. Oh, I'm grooving. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. Oh, I'm grooving. I'm moving, yes I am. I'm moving. I'm moving. I'm moving, yes I am. I'm moving. I'm moving. I'm moving, yes I am. Groove Nation inspires me. The most loose and free. I'm dancing to my dreams. Bursting at the seams. I'm feeling groove-alicious. Groove knows who I am. 'Cause now is my time to have a groove state of mind. I'm grooving. Oh, I'm grooving. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. Oh, I'm grooving. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. I'm grooving. I'm grooving, yes I am.
I love that. I just love that song. It's just awesome.
too.
I just bebop in my office. I am great.
So, well, we were not streaming into our group until just a second ago, just as the song ended. So,
Okay.
our group members are just a minute or so behind us.
All righty. Well, here we are. Our final Groove Growth Dialogue of the year. Donna Fox, can you believe that this is 2 full years
I
of having
can.
these dialogues and these conversations? That's pretty incredible. How did they go by so fast?
It has gone by incredibly fast, and the quality of the content that you provide. We now have a master class in thought leadership as part of Groove right now in the Groove Growth program, and because of you. So I am so appreciative of all of the things that you bring to Groove. Thank you so much for this program.
Well, that's what we're talking about, appreciation. And I am so appreciative of having the opportunity to bring all this content and for us to have these dialogues that make up part of my favorite hour of the month with you, Donna, and the friendships, the relationships, the learning, everything that has made all of this possible. And I'm so appreciative for all of the people who tune in saying, hey, what can I do to improve myself? What can I do to be better? What could I do to gain even more appreciation and live in that space of appreciation? It's a big one, man. As I was preparing for today, I was thinking appreciation crosses into so many other topics. It crosses into leadership. It crosses into service. It crosses big time into gratitude, right? Happiness, success, all those things. So what's your take? To kick us off.
Well, I think that if we're going to tackle a big topic like appreciation, let's start at the beginning, which is awareness. I think opening up your eyes to how much there is to appreciate in the world around you, in what you have, in what you know, in your abilities, in your opportunities, friendships, relationships, physical things, mental things. Like, we just have so much in this world, even when we don't have much at all. We still have so much.
Yeah, that really is very, very true. And that awareness thing that you're talking about, so critical. Just open your eyes and see. right? Just pay attention, open your ears and listen.
Yeah.
Moment to just take it in, just take that thing. It really is a remarkable opportunity to reinvent your feeling about your universe moment to moment every single day.
And I really believe this so strongly because one of the things that I've realized is that uh, when I'm battling the demons of depression or grief or sadness, uh, I'm thinking about the past or the future.
Mm.
And awareness has me thinking about the present. And that just puts me in a so much different state than where I am when I'm depressed about something that happens or grieving a loss or a loss of some future self.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was in Maryland a couple of weeks ago to see my stepmom for the first Christmas since my father died a few months ago. So it's her first Christmas without him for 56
Mhm.
years or whatever it is. And it was really interesting to go back from the last time we were there just a few months ago for funeral services and all of that. Much grieving, much difficult time, heaviness kind of feeling,
Mhm.
the finality of it all. Like, this is the first Christmas I won't be able to call my dad, right? I just can't call him because he's not here anymore. But to see her, my stepmom's, she was so joyful. She was like a little kid opening presents because we did presents, and and of course, they have everything. So it's like most of the stuff we gave was like a narwhal stuffed animal,
Mhm.
a tchotchke thing that you shake in the snow comes down. And she was just sitting there so happy with these little things. Oh, can you put that over there for me? Can you do this thing? And the shift, and we felt like, even with my sister, that all of us felt like there was a bonding communal sense of coming together in the wake of dad's passing. And we were so appreciative of each other. And we were really appreciative that we all went to be there with mom and help her through this moment. It was just great. It was just so heartwarming. And I walked away from that thing, besides the damage done to my liver because of the wine that I drank, thinking that was just so great. And what a remarkable shift from literally what was 3 months ago, a very difficult time.
That is nice. And I think that the holidays and the end of the year and the change of a calendar, it helps you be in that state of both reflection and appreciation, where you can look back at the year behind you or look forward to the year ahead of you and experience a joy, genuine joy at moments, periods, seasons in your life. So,
Mhm. One of the things that I try to share with as many people as I can is, especially during the holidays when it is a time for joy, and yet some people aren't feeling it.
mm,
Some people's expectations weren't met, or maybe they're alone, or maybe whatever. Why not you be the beacon of light? Why not, you see somebody who needs a smile, give them yours, right? Just be that person that shares that extra. I like to think of, what can I be appreciative today? I'm so appreciative that today is the shortest day of the year, because tomorrow the days start getting longer. Yes. I don't like it when it gets dark so early. I'm like, come on, man, it's 4:30 and it's already getting dark. I got stuff to
me
do.
either. There's a lot of not even speculation. We have holidays at this time of year because it's the shortest day of the year. Period.
Mhm.
That's why we have a Christmas celebration, a Hanukkah celebration. Holidays happen when we need them. And we need one at this time of the year when it's dark and it's dreary on at least in the northern hemisphere.
I know, right? And you think about, we're here in the US, and it's not that bad. But like, I mean, I remember being in London about this time of year. I mean, it's not even getting light until 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's already dark by 3:15. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, forget about it.
Living
Oh,
in Chicago was rough this time of year.
I bet, right? What time did it get dark?
I don't think it ever got light.
Right. The grayness all the time.
Yeah, not quite Alaska, but
Well,
yeah.
I did get a few things for us to discuss. Just
Wonderful.
and pick some, because appreciation is such a cross pollinator. I thought there were some interesting thoughts from different leaders, different thought leaders that are worth discussing. One of them, coming from Deepak Chopra, in The Soul of Leadership, he says, leaders bring out the best in others, but successful visionaries go even further. They form lasting emotional bonds. They are the kind of leaders we hold in our hearts. When people are emotionally bonded to you, they want to have contact with you. They want to be of service and share in your vision. Deep motivation then develops. True lasting loyalties are formed. To create such bonds, you must be willing to build real relationships, share yourself, take a personal interest in others, and notice their strengths. At the most basic level, you must display healthy emotional energy yourself. Avoid the 3 toxic A's: authoritarianism, anger, and aloofness. In every situation, make it a habit to ask yourself the key question of emotional intelligence: how do I feel? How do they feel? What are the stumbling blocks between us? A leader who can answer these questions will be in a position to create lasting emotional bonds. And I think it starts with appreciation. Just the person in front of you, can you appreciate them enough to say, how do they feel? What are the blocks? What do I need to do? How can I really be that person that is grateful for everything they're doing for me at this moment, to create that emotional bond, that lasting bond, to be a great leader? What do you think?
I agree. I agree entirely. I think that when it comes to the people in your life, the more that you can do to understand who they are, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, what's going on in their life, what they're experiencing, the better your working relationship will be. And I think that many of us try to compartmentalize. Oh, that's a work friend. That's not a real friend. She's just a work friend. I don't quite understand that. A friend is a friend, no matter what environment you're in. And many of us are in our working environment as long as or longer than we are in our social ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we're all on the same team. We are all on the same team.
Yeah.
But especially when it comes to the people that we're working with,
Mm-hmm.
we're on the same team, and it's a good idea to avoid an adversarial situation on the same team. And that means just really getting to understand and know and appreciate people.
And listen and take the time. A lot of us are in such a huge hurry, and it just doesn't work. I mean, it just does not serve anything. You can be aware of consequences. You can be aware of desired outcomes. You can be aware of a lot of those kinds of things without going to some kind of funky place that doesn't create value. It's funny because a little later on in the day today, I have a call with a grumpy client. But I already made the decision it's not going to be a grumpy call. It's just not. And I'm completely at ease with the idea of it may not be a client at all by the end of this call. That's fine. But that doesn't mean we have to have a grumpy exchange of any kind. It's going to be kind and caring. And hey, man, if it's not the right fit, I get it. Da-da-da. No need to go to some kind of funny place. You're wrong, I'm right, blah, 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 junk.
I don't think we're taught how to navigate that. I think that there are a few people teaching the skills of how to navigate the departure of a relationship or the decision not to move forward, or the hard questions. Having hard conversations is maybe that's a topic for another group. Oh, you already released the topics next year.
Doesn't mean we can't talk about hard conversations.
Yeah, I think that's probably a skill that we should consider talking about 1 month, because that's definitely a skill that a leader should cultivate.
For sure. As Richard Branson says, your success is inversely proportional to the number of hard conversations you're willing to have.
Oh, that's a good quote. Who was
Yeah.
that?
Richard Branson.
Nice.
Yeah, he's really well known for that. It's like, hey, let's have the hard conversations. And, you know, a lot of people, some people are better at those than others. Some people are not. I mean, right now, I have my young daughter, Camille, who you know well,
Mhm.
and she needs to have a conversation with dad about how is she recovering from her injury? Where is she recovering? She's a ballerina. She got injured. Where
Oh,
is she recovering from her injury? What does all that look like? And she's not calling me. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to let you do what you need to do. And at some point, you're going to have this conversation with dad,
I
because
very much hope it's a minor injury and that she'll be okay.
it's not a minor injury, unfortunately, but it is a very common injury in the ballerina field. So she has many ballet friends who have been dancing for the last 10 years who've already gone through this. So
Okay.
for her, it was huge, life-changing, altering, etc. But even to the point of the ballet company that she is affiliated with saying, hey, Camille, a lot of people had this. Well, your spot's safe here. Just go take
Mhm.
care of yourself. Right, kind of a thing. So, but it's very tough emotionally on her, and unfortunately triggers
Well,
a very different conversation. It's got to happen.
I watch full-grown football players every single weekend burst into tears on the field when they get injured, because it crushes hopes and dreams.
Yeah,
Even recoverable injuries crush hope and dreams. And you know what? Business ones do too.
yeah, yeah. Interestingly, in the book Thought Revolution: How to Unlock Your Inner Genius, William Donius, very smart dude, talks about this. He says, we go through life wounded by various negative experiences. We heal from these experiences and develop emotional scar tissue.
Mhm.
Really important to remember, there is that scar tissue. Similar to the child who gets burned by touching something on a hot stove, we get tougher and learn to avoid certain topics and issues as we grow. The good news is we keep ourselves emotionally safe from potential trauma. The bad news is we close ourselves off to risk taking, including emotional risk taking.
Yeah.
Consequently, we are more cautious and less interested in going in a new direction involving risk, especially if attached to a topic that has burned us previously. Most of the time, we end up staying within the confines of the life we have created for ourselves. We abandon the risk in order to get what we really want out of life. We abandon the idea of risk. What a shame.
Mm.
What a shame to not be willing to try again, to try to wake up somehow and say, and yet that's the reality of most people. By the way, not so much in Groove, which is nice, because with Groovesters and Groove Stars, we're like, hey, you wouldn't likely be here if you didn't have a dream you're going after. What do you say, Donna?
I think that the people who are likely to stay plugged in are the ones that are enjoying the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really believe that the point of life is figuring out what it is that you can love doing every day, love learning and growing in every
Well, it's
day.
interesting because Donius goes on to say, we can learn to tap into a broader range of our thought processes.
Mm.
These thoughts are always present, but often get shut down immediately because of past experiences in which we learn to protect ourselves from danger. Certainly, we don't want to unlearn what has kept us safe from harm, nor do we want to stay stuck in risk negative behaviors, keeping us from reaching our true potential in life. So, okay, protect yourself from harm,
Yep.
but let's open up the possibilities.
What did I say to you when we started today? I was having a hard conversation, and my response was, I want to have this conversation with you, just not right now. And I think that that's the way you have to approach these things in order to grow from them. Like, okay, maybe right now is not the time to deal with this issue, but I know that I have to deal with it. I can't just keep pushing it under the rug,
Mhm.
because growth doesn't happen. That creates that scar tissue you were talking about.
Yeah, and the self-love thing, needing to love yourself enough to protect yourself when needed, but also go back to what you've got to deal with when you have to go back to deal with it,
Yes.
at whatever mechanism that is. And I think it does always, it's so funny because appreciation just comes in. Can you appreciate the fact that you're a human? And that means you are flawed and you have skeletons in the closet, just like every other human has skeletons in the closet. And we're working on those. And sometimes we don't want to be working on them right at this very moment because it's not the right time.
I think you hear about appreciation, and it, especially in the form of gratitude. I think you hear about that so often because it's just so damn easy. It is such an easy crutch. Now, remember, crutch isn't a bad thing. A crutch is what you reach for support to help you when you are not able to do so on your own. So it's really good to have a crutch to help you with an emotional injury, a mental block, and a state that you want to change. And the beautiful thing about gratitude and appreciation is that it is that crutch. It's easy to remember. It's easy to recall. It's easy to give yourself reminders of, and it just plain works. You can't start thinking about things that you're grateful for without feeling grateful for them. And it changes your state. Like magic, it changes your state.
And it can be intentional. It can flat out be intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you know, for instance, as I do, okay, I've got a call with a grumpy client. All right, what state of mind am I going to go into that call with? How am I going to put myself in the right frame of mind to have a great call, regardless of the outcome? How can I not be attached to an outcome so that I can have a great call? What preparation do I need to make? What, all of those things that go into intentionally crafting your life and your experience. Jim Rohn talks about that when he talks about happiness. He says, happiness is both the joy of discovery and the joy of knowing. It is the joy that comes to those who painstakingly design their lives and then live them with artistry. You're an artist. What do you think of that?
I am. I love that. I've for much longer than I've been an artist, I have as my I think it's on Facebook, on the career. I think I said creating an amazing life for herself.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when I set up the account 20 years ago, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think that that's what we do every day, is we create our lives for ourselves. I really believe that we are the center of our universes,
Mm-hmm.
and that everything around us is a creation of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm an artist, and so are you, and so are all of us. And look at what you created.
Jim goes on to say, happiness is both giving and receiving, reaping and bestowing. It comes to those who deliberately expand their horizons and experiences. It resides in the houses of those who have the ability to handle disappointment without losing their sense of well-being. It is activity with purpose. It is love in practice. It is both a grasp of the obvious and an awe of the mysterious.
Love that last line.
That Jim dude, he's all right, you know. He also says happiness is not an accident, nor is it something you wish for. It is something you design.
Yes. I've seen that in my own experience, struggling and dealing with longer periods of depression. It usually takes a friend to remind me, or it did. It doesn't so much anymore. Used to take a friend to remind me that I needed to go back to journaling, and as part of that journaling practice, gratitude, and start off with things that I am grateful for. Again, it's that magic formula for generating happiness. And it's a method in which you can generate happiness. You can think about the things that you're grateful for. And in the beginning, there's always when it comes to journaling, I always give myself permission to write. I don't know what I feel like writing. This whole exercise is just stupid. Why do I do this every day? It does a waste of my time. Like, and just complain about the process. And I think and that's my default. When I don't know what else to do, I just do that and other things start coming out. With gratitude, I just start appreciating being alive and breathing and my sight and my hearing and my smell and my sense of taste. And then it flows from that. But that's my go-to. And I think having that, it's like putting the gym shoes on so that you'll go for a run. It's the first step that you don't have to think about, that you can, it's the crutch that you reach for. To tie in that analogy, the crutch that I reach for appreciation is to simply appreciate the breath that I am taking.
Yeah, it's so interesting because little Camille is hobbling around on crutches these days. She went from
choice of words,
right. I'm telling you, interestingly, she went from being a professional athlete to I now can get around by either on crutches or crawling. Those are the only two ways.
Wow.
So a really interesting adjustment, kind of like, okay,
it's learning the identity.
Right, for sure. And she expressed how much appreciation she feels and a different sense of what other people go through when they're incapacitated or down or elderly or whatever because of all this. So I hope I hope and trust it'll bring her back an even stronger person. So here's an interesting one. Woman named Donna Hicks, by the way, very cool person, says the following: anyone attempting to exercise leadership would be wise to include in her or his repertoire knowledge of what it means to honor dignity. As I pointed out earlier, although we are all born with dignity, we are not born knowing how to act in accordance with this truth. Learning how to honor dignity does not come naturally. It needs to be learned. And then she goes on to say, while I'm open to the idea that there may be other elements of dignity, these 10 elements kept emerging in the stories people told. So she learned through stories, did a bunch of research, and then wrote this book, Leading with Dignity. It's a great book. And so here are the 10, just throwing them out there for us to ponder and consider, just thoughts. Number 1, acceptance of identity. Approach people as neither inferior nor superior to you. Give others the freedom to express their authentic selves without fear of being judged. Interact without prejudice or bias, accepting characteristics such as race, religion, gender, class, sexual orientation, age, disability, etc. Number 1, accepting others. Totally get that. Number 2, recognition. Validate others for their talent, hard work, thoughtfulness, and help. Appreciation obviously comes in there big time. Number 3, acknowledgement. Give people your full attention by listening, hearing, validating, and responding. Number 4, inclusion. Make others feel that they belong at all levels of the relationship. Number 5, safety. Put people at ease on 2 levels, physically and psychologically. 6, fairness. Treat people justly with equality and in an even-handed way. 7, independence. Empower people to act on their own behalf so they feel in control. 8, understanding. Believe that what others think matters. Give them the chance to explain their perspectives. 9, benefit of the doubt. Treat people as if they are trustworthy. Start with the premise that others have good motives and are acting with integrity. That concept of we are all in the same boat that you were talking about earlier. And lastly, 10, accountability. Take responsibility for your actions. Apologize if you violated another person's dignity, and make a commitment to change harmful behaviors. I thought that was pretty profound because almost all of those are emotionally based. Do I care enough to be acknowledging, including, creating safety, fair, understanding, recognizing others, all really care-based kind of feelings that
Mhm.
sum up this idea of dignity. And dignity matters to me because I want to live a life with dignity.
I've never thought about it, but I do too.
Yeah, it kind of comes at you like, that sounds like what I want to be.
Yeah.
I want to be that person that listens and cares and acknowledges and validates and recognizes and treats people fairly and, does my best. And right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a big yeah, but it's a better big yeah when it's thought through a little bit, like through this conversation that we're having. Yeah, that's what I want. I do want to be those things. Oh, and that sums up the research that says that's a life lived with dignity.
Dignity. That is a dignified response to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I like that a lot too.
Yeah, man, there's like some really great thinkers out there in this world. I know this. I like this book, The 7 Central Practices to Awaken Heart and Mind. It's called Essential Spirituality, written by Roger Walsh, who really smart dude, hangs out a lot with the Dalai Lama. And so, talking about appreciation and gratitude, he says we go in. There's a bunch of exercises that he gives, but one is exercise 14, a day of thankfulness. Yeah, look at you smiling already. See, it causes a natural reaction of like, that already sounds good. I don't know
It sounds fabulous. I don't even know what it is. It sounds fabulous.
He says, when you're ready to extend this exercise, commit to doing it for a longer time. There are 2 steps to the exercise. Think of the people you meet. These might include family members, friends who love you, the bus driver to get you to and from work, the janitor who cleans your room. See if you can find a reason to feel grateful to each person you meet. 2, continue this recollection of gratitude throughout the day. Try to bring to mind a reason for feeling grateful to each person you meet. This need not take long. A few seconds may be enough to recall some quality or gift of theirs that you appreciate. In this way, each person becomes a bearer of good feelings, and each meeting is a cause for gratitude. At the completion of this exercise, take time to reflect on the people you met and your feelings about them. You may understand why gratitude is called the heart of love.
My gratitude is called the heart of love. I like that. I'd never heard gratitude called the heart of love, but I like it.
I do too. And it's interesting because we've talked about this a number of times. I love to play the game of getting people to smile and feel better, especially if they're grumpy, right? Like if I'm in the line at the grocery store or the bank or wherever it is, and I see somebody, I'm looking for the grumpiest. I'm looking, yeah, sure. Everybody's looking for the shortest line, but if there's a short line combined with grumpy, I'm in. I'm going down that line. There's always something you can say that's kind or nice. I really love that pin. Cool way you've done your hair. Whatever it may be, you can have a great conversation with somebody. We put out front of our home because during the holidays, so many things are delivered. We have like a gratitude basket out there. So we fill it up with waters and snacks and kind bars and all that stuff with a sign. Please feel free to take some. Happy holidays, right?
I love that idea.
So we have it every day. I just filled it up this morning again. And yesterday, a FedEx driver that I'd never seen before delivered a package, and I happened to be upstairs, had a chance to walk out and say thank you. And we had this full-on conversation. I said, hey, man, take some. Oh, yeah, man, I was hungry, actually. It's amazing. It was just great. It was so easy to be in that gratitude space and to thank him for his efforts, knowing full well that those UPS drivers, the FedEx drivers, those guys are going nuts this time of year, putting in mega hours, tons and tons more work than they normally do. Why not take a minute to just, say thank you?
Yeah.
Please and thank you. Still the magic words.
Still the magic words. Yep. Through all these years. And this time of year is the time for gratitude and appreciation. And mostly I send Christmas cards out as a way of just saying I'm thinking about you, which is a moment of appreciation. If I'm appreciating someone in my life, then they get on my, and I hand make my Christmas cards now, so I have a very short list of people that I send them to. It takes me hours and hours and hours. One of these days I'll be a savvy enough artist to have prints made, and then I can start mailing more Christmas cards again. But for the time being, a very few limited people get original paintings in the form of Christmas cards around the holidays. And I think that's it's such a great topic for right now, because now is the time when it's not weird to give someone a token of your appreciation. It is acceptable to do so, even if it feels effusive. Is that the word? Over the top. Even if it feels like too much, it's okay. You have permission to be really, really kind this time of year. You have permission to be really, really generous this time of year. And how wonderful is that?
Yeah, I think you almost have, you don't get a weird look from somebody if you're a little extra generous.
Yeah. I know people that are embarrassed by anything that is effusive towards strangers. So complimenting a stranger on her shoes would send them into the throes of embarrassment. So I get that. And I think that this time of year breaks down that barrier, that natural, oh, they don't care if I think their shoes are nice. Of course they care if you think your shoes are nice, even if they don't know you. People like compliments. Give them freely. And they're free. They're a beautiful thing to give away freely. But I think that barrier is a real one. And the season of giving breaks down that barrier.
Yeah,
and it's
that's a very
just
good
so
point.
easy to do that without being weird.
It is. That's a really good point. It is much easier to do that this time of year than being weird. I never quite thought of it that way, but you're right. It really is. And I'm one of those people who's not embarrassed at all to tell people their shoes look really cool.
Me either.
I'm like, hey, if I think it's going to cause you to smile, I'm going to say it, and we'll see what we come up with.
I think you and I fall on the other side of that spectrum, where we're annoyingly positive to some people. So,
well, I think it's natural because we've intentionally made it natural.
yes.
At least for me, I didn't start this way.
Yeah, no, I think that the idea of anything being innate is way overblown. I think we are exactly who we want to be.
And who we intentionally and volitionally train to be.
Yep.
Because that habit thing is so big, and habit extends to habits of thought and habits of action and habits of all of those things. So I know that my mindset now is as a result of many, many years and effort of cultivation to say, this is who I want to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be grumpy. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to be anxious. I don't want those things. Oh, okay. Well, you can't just wish them away and flick a switch and they're gone. It just
Wouldn't
doesn't
it be
work.
great if you could?
It'd be nice, man, if you could, but
you can. It just takes about 30 years to figure out how.
Yeah, exactly, man. It takes 10,000 times to master that move that you're looking to master. Just don't know which one it is, right? So, in the wisdom for creating happiness and peace, it says, in life, it is only natural that we sometimes fall ill. However, we can look at illness as an inherent part of life. Seeing it this way, we will not be swayed by illness when it happens to us, or allow it to become a source of suffering or distress. Viewed from the perspective of the eternity of life, we are definitely on the way to establishing a greater self overflowing with absolute happiness. We'll be able to overcome any obstacle we encounter in life, using it as a springboard for developing a new, more expansive state of being. Life will be enjoyable and death will be peaceful, marking the solemn departure for our next wonderful lifetime. When winter arrives, trees are, for a while, bare of flowers and leaves, but they possess the life force to grow fresh green leaves when spring comes. Similar to this, but on a more profound level, death is a dynamic process by which our life itself transitions to quickly begin its next mission-filled existence. And I think that applies on a day-to-day basis, right? On an ongoing basis, we're constantly, the tree is bare, maybe, but it has the inherent potential to produce new leaves and new life. What do we need to do with this tree, right? This tree that is us, to bring forth those new leaves and that new life? What practices, what thoughts, who are we hanging out with? What are we doing? How are we taking care of ourselves? What does all that look like? Am I walking my dogs or not?
Yeah, every day.
Right. They kind of remind you that they need to be walked.
They do, and it's a beautiful reminder. I wish that I had more fuzzy little encouragements throughout the day to do the things that I know that I should be doing. If I have fuzzy little faces that encourage me to do it, so it makes it a lot easier.
Hey, well, the good news is you do have fuzzy little faces that do that for you,
Yeah.
and they really do want to be walked, so it's all good. Napoleon Hill, in the 17 Principles of Personal Achievement, writes, "Our greatest gift is our thinking mind. It analyzes, compares, and chooses. It creates, visualizes, foresees, and generates ideas. Imagination is your mind's exercise, challenge, and adventure. It is the key to all of a person's achievements, the mainspring of all human endeavor, the secret door to the soul of a person. Creative vision may be an inborn quality of mind or an acquired quality, for it may be developed by the free and fearless use of the faculty of imagination." Every time you face a blank canvas,
Yeah.
what do you got? You got your creative mind and your imagination.
I think creativity is definitely a skill that is developed. No question, it's a skill. I don't believe that it's a gift. I don't think some people are more creative than others. I think you can learn to cultivate creativity, just like you can learn how to draw or paint or sing or any of those things that people think are talents.
Interesting. The very next thing that Napoleon Hill talks about is cultivating creative vision.
There you go. See?
And he says the following: "One of the ways to increase your flow of ideas is by developing the habit of taking study time, thinking time, and planning time. Be quiet and motionless and listen for that small, still voice that speaks from within you. Contemplate the ways in which you can achieve your objectives. Imagination is the workshop of the soul, wherein all plans are shaped for individual achievement." Imagination is the workshop of the soul.
I like that. I liked earlier too, you said imagination was your challenge. And I like that too, because I think often we think of the word imagination and the positive side of it. Someone has a good imagination or they're creative, they can imagine. But worry, I am fond of saying that worry is just the negative use of your imagination. Is you are imagining all the bad things that could happen. You can, but people don't refer to that as imagining.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. There's just that interesting twinge to that word that you can go down the dark path as well with imagination. So which makes it all the more powerful, I think. when you realize that you're using the same skill. So if you want to change your state, you can also use the same skill. And there have been plenty of times when I've brought myself from happy to sad in a heartbeat because I used my imagination. But thankfully, it works the other way around too.
You know, regrettably, I think more people bring themselves from happy to sad in an instant than from sad to happy in an instant. And
Probably.
that's a much more sort of, oh, something bad happened, right? As opposed to something good happened. Oh, that's good, right? There's a delay factor that sometimes happen in that. Very interesting. I was in a session with a therapist, and I do that periodically. I'll get help from wherever I can get it. You know, I got Kathy, my wife, and I. We go to counseling usually once every couple months or something. Just get a tune up. And the therapist was saying how important it is when progress is made that your partner stop and appreciate and acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Like if you do something to make a shift in your relationship, how critical it is that that person take the time to recognize and appreciate that, because otherwise the effort made to make that shift is like, well, why did I bother?
Mm-hmm.
What was the point? Yada, yada. Taking that moment to express that gratitude and to feel that appreciation, because otherwise it's just lost.
Yeah. They may not even know they need it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And yet it's really, really, really key. I mean, this is a therapist saying, did you hear this?
Yeah.
Like repeating himself multiple times to make sure that the lesson stuck. That it was like, oh, okay, somebody's making an effort. Pay attention. Say
That
something.
applies to your employees and your team members and your partners as well. Relationships, we tend to use that word and think about romantic relationships or maybe familial ones. But every time we use that word, it also applies to business relationships, friendships, partnerships, employee-employer relationships.
Yeah. Relationships in the community, wherever it may be. And I do think that trying to be beacons is a great thing. Speaking of leadership, one last quote for you. This is from Guidelines for Victory and Happiness.
Ooh,
and
that's a book title?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. He says, those who have a strong desire and sense of responsibility to accomplish something for others will naturally feel profound gratitude to their fellow men. That is because they genuinely appreciate all they are doing. You can't win a struggle alone. That's why it's so important for leaders to show sincere appreciation and respect for team members and to encourage them with their whole heart. That is the true attitude of a leader, all appreciation. I thought, yeah, that feels about right. Feeling about right. Doesn't matter that you're the last man standing. Doesn't matter that you're the last person getting paid. Doesn't matter that you're the last on the totem pole. Appreciate your peeps.
Yeah.
Show them some love.
I know that Groove could not be Groove without all of the team members that are working very, very hard, and we're all doing our very best to create Groove. And we don't always, we have big goals, we don't always make them, but we're always doing our best. And I know that you are with this program, and all of our team members are in their little corner of the world, as well as all of our Groovesters and all of their businesses and all of their relationships. We're all just doing our very best in the world.
And deserving of deep appreciation from each other. Top down, bottom up, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Who you playing with? What are you saying to them? Do you have a moment that you can offer them some encouragement, some empowerment, some recognition, some validation, something, and appreciate them in that way? Well, as we wrap up our final Groove Growth Convo of 2023, I want to just tell you how much I appreciate you, Donna Fox. You are
Oh,
amazing, and I'm deeply grateful for having you in my life.
I feel very much the same way, Ridgely. Thank you so much for providing this resource to Groovesters. At a minimum, if that was the only thing that you brought to my life, it would be a tremendous benefit. But there's just so much more. You're such a wonderful friend. Thank you.
Thank you, and deep appreciation to all of you Groovesters around the globe. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your 2023, and let's take on 2024 with tremendous appreciation. Thank you so much.
Let's start with appreciating Groovezilla.
Yay! Love that.
All right, where's the outro? Here it is.
Boom.